Okay, so I know we all had a great time at the cast party on Friday, and we had to spend the next day recovering, but I had an entire team of people signed up to help me put things away on Sunday, and apparently that did not happen. Let me tell you, it is not a great start to your week when an angry stage manager calls you and starts yelling at you for an hour. And a half-empty water bottle? Really? And right next to the wiring at that? And who left a prop in the house? You're not even supposed to bring props into the house. They stay on the stage where they... Very funny. Who is that? Amy? Carla? I mean, at least you guys are, finally getting into the spooky season spirit. I have to admit, this parasol's pretty cute. Look at me. I'm Mary Poppins. Jim Jiminy. Oh, sweet sugar cookies. Okay. Oh, wait a minute. This looks like Malia's necklace. Beep, beep, beep.
Hello?
Hey, so, random question. Did you lose a necklace on Friday?
No, I have mine. I didn't take it to the shows. My mom would kill me if I lost it.
Why?
Belonged to a great aunt. Some friend gave it to her after her first opening show. Said it was good luck. Never took it off till she died.
You didn't think to use some of the luck for yourself?
Oh, darling, please. We both know I don't need it. Oh, wait, why are you asking?
Oh, well, I found this necklace, and I thought it was yours, and so I called to ask you about it, but it's obviously not, so, yeah. Sorry to wake you.
No, you're fine. Oh, hey, while you're at the theater, could you do me a favor?
Yeah?
Say hi to my great aunt for me.
Have you ever been in the costume shop of a theater? It's a bustling center of activity. Sewing machines whirring, actors wandering in for fitting sessions, or rushing in for costume changes. The heavenly aroma of fresh popcorn wafting down the hallway usually meant that our favorite volunteer, Bertie, was here. Bertie was a riot, full of great stories from a lifetime as a stage performer. Exotic travel adventures, hilarious stage shenanigans, and hair-raising tales of theater ghosts. A lot of people talk about theaters being haunted. It's no surprise. Think about the hundreds, the thousands of people who come through a theater, backstage, on stage, or in the audience. Each one carries with them the experiences, the emotions of a lifetime. They come here, have a communal experience with all the other souls who've gathered here. Don't you think that a bit of that residual energy might remain behind? I do. I've had my own encounters with theater ghosts. They say this theater's haunted. Anyway, Bird'd love to sing and dance. Bird'd say, it's just like walking with attitude, just a bunch of steps to music. Thing is, if you miss a step, y'all messed up. I am no good at dancing, but I am good at sewing. I got a special touch with fabric and thread. I also love organizing. My favorite thing is taking the costumes back up to storage at the end of a run. I carry them up the 21 rickety steps all the way to the storage loft. Sort through all those old items and make sure everything is in its proper place. Have you ever been in a costume storage room packed to the gills with rows and rows of garments, thousands of them? Shelves with shoes and pads stacked to the ceiling. Those clothes have been worn time and again over the decades, strutted their hour upon the stage, then filed away again into the quiet of this here room. Sometimes I find ripped seams or missing buttons, and I'll carry an armful of those downstairs to fix them up. I don't know how to explain it, but when I can set them right, it gives me a real sense of satisfaction. Well, Birdie eventually passed on. We inherited some very flashy showbiz attire. I'm talking feather boas, rhinestone cowboy hats, and platform shoes. Birdie was a riot. I'd come in on a Saturday to put that all up in storage. I was in my element, sorting and organizing. It's so still in there. You forget there's a world outside. Hours can pass without you realizing. Somebody creep up on you, and you never hear them come. So when you start to think about those old theater ghosts, you think you see something at the corner of your eye. It feels like someone's watching you, even though you're the only one in the building. Well, I was giving myself the creeps, and I'd found a pile of wrinkled clothes somebody dumped up there, probably a donation. Frayed hems, holes in the armpits. These were new friends and needed some TLC. So, I gathered them up in my arms as best I could and headed downstairs. And, well, one of those sleeves tripped me up. And I slipped and tumbled tail over tea kettle down those 21 steps and landed with a crunch at the bottom. All those poor, wrinkled clothes scattered like autumn leaves in the wind. I found myself back up in the quiet of the storage loft. There didn't appear to be a way out. Just rows and rows of my old, well-acquainted friends. Well, that was that, I guess. It is peaceful in here, quiet and still. Like a tomb. Weeks can pass without you realizing. Once in a while, someone will come up here and rummage around. I don't want to intrude, but I do like to watch. They say our theater's haunted. I'm not saying they're wrong. The ghosts here, part of the woodwork, part of the decades of memories reverberating through every atom of this place. Just say hello and put your costumes back nicely.
I loved Janice for as long as I can remember. No, maybe that's not true. The first time I saw her was in a video a friend posted on Facebook. I thought she was pretty, but a little too vanilla for my tastes. But something about it lodged in my mind. Then I started noticing her in other friends' photos and videos. We had a few mutual acquaintances, and it seemed like we had some common interests. Art and foreign films, environmental causes, music. But I was living in Washington at the time, thousands of miles away. How do you turn a distant admiration into something more, something else? Basically, if I looked at it logically, all I had was a crush. Well, call it fate if you want. But one day, she and I ended up volunteering at the same event. I moved back home, gone back to school, needed extra credit. She was just an altruistic soul, I guess. Whatever the reason, there we were. I was helping in the office, and she came in to order pizza for the volunteers. And she turned to me and asked for a number. I grabbed the phone book, started thumbing through it, gave it a number. She made the call. I could hardly breathe. There she was, less than 3 feet away from me. She was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. We crossed paths a couple times after that, at a distance. A smile, a glance. Never spoke. 2 years passed. I graduated and moved away for a job to this little town in the middle of nowhere. It was pleasant, but there was no social life. I continued to see Janice, but not in the way you think. Only in dreams. Those dreams, though, were so vivid. I felt this inexplicable metaphysical connection with her. I stopped noticing her popping up in friends' photos and videos. So I tried a little cyber detective work, but since she didn't do social media, that was a dead end. Well, you're not gonna believe this. I couldn't believe it. Turns out she'd moved nearby. She bought a little farm and was turning it into an animal sanctuary. Now, who wouldn't fall in love with that? I thought for sure this was a sign. We were meant to be together. I had to do something to make a connection. So I found out where her farm was. I bought a book that I thought she'd like. And I chatted to her gate with a note inside. It was a 1 in a million chance. But what did I have to lose? A couple weeks went by. I didn't hear anything. And I thought, well, I gave it a shot. And then one day my phone rang. It was her. We met up for coffee and talked about the book. And then a week later, we met up for dinner. And we watched the show together. We started hanging out all the time. The thing is, there was always this friend with her, Ella. Ella was helping her manage her farm/animal sanctuary. That was great, but I wasn't getting any alone time with Janice. Maybe this was her way of friend zoning me. I couldn't figure out the mixed signals. She was constantly inviting me to do things. We had fascinating conversations. We connected on so many levels. And we always had an amazing time. But in most cases, there were other people around. And some of those other people were guys, like me, hanging out and hoping to have a chance with her. But I was the one she would call every day. I was the one she would visit when she drove into town. I was the one who dropped her off at the airport when she went to see her mom. And I was the one who picked her up when she came back. It was me. One night, I stayed late at her place with a few other close friends. We got really drunk, and folks were falling asleep on couches or wherever they could find a place to lay down. Janice leaned her forehead against mine and said, "I love you. You know that, right? I love you." It took all my strength not to kiss her then. I was afraid if I did, and she meant it platonically, it would ruin our friendship. That would have destroyed me. I decided I would rather have her forever as a friend than risk a romance that would most likely end at some point. So, instead of kissing her, I went into the bathroom and threw up. She went to go tend to another drunk friend. And I didn't want to be one more person waking up with rancid breath and not in her bed. So I decided to drive home. It was the worst decision of my life. It was the last decision I ever made in my life. I fell asleep at the wheel less than a mile from her house and flipped my car off the side of the road. I only know that because I heard the paramedics talking to the police when they pulled my body from the wreckage. My family had me cremated. Janice didn't come to my funeral. I don't blame her. Funerals are depressing. I wouldn't have gone either. But you have to stick around and let people have their final say. It's kind of funny, the things people hang on to. Like my cousin George was still mad at me after all these years for not lending him $2,000 to invest in the stock market, even though the market crashed a month later. But maybe that's just human nature. I can't let go either, it turns out. I'm stuck, hanging out at Janice's farm, watching her life go by. I'm happy for her. I guess. If you love someone, you're supposed to be happy for them, right? Even if that means without you. But at night, when she's sleeping, I visit her dreams. It doesn't matter if there's someone snoring on the pillow beside her. I'm the one she tells her regrets to. I'm the one she confides into. It's me! It's me. It should have been me.
I'm a klutz. I'll be the first one to admit that. Put something in my hand, I'll drop it. Run a quarter across the ground, I'll trip on and knock your computer off the desk. It's happened. While at work, I'm like what's that saying? A bull in the china shop. I'm the only guy at the office, so I'm sort of like their pet mascot. They take it upon them substituting me in social graces, or at least they tried for a while. I didn't get most of it. They used to call me Lubery Lou. It sounds mean when I say it, but it sounds like Lovely Lou when they say it with their little giggles. I don't know. If I could make them laugh, why not? I mean, especially Rose. I'd bumble around all day just to hear her laugh. Rose likes to watch that one show, Dancing with the Stars. Every time a new episode comes out, she's all excited to update us on her highlights. There's a ballroom dance club in town, and I think she joined if she had a partner. I'd love to be a partner if I could. Once, when nobody else was in the office, she tried to teach me the ball of yellow. That was a bust. The best I could ever manage was a box step. After that, my nickname was Left Foot Lou because she said I had 2 left feet. My favorite TV show was The Poltergeist. Legacy? Have you ever seen that? It came out in the late 90s, but I didn't start watching it till later. I like to think myself as Dr. Brain, although I'm not Dutch, or a doctor of anthropology, or theology, or a doctor of anything for that matter. But I am methodical, like him, and I like to think that I'm brave, like him, sitting back in the dark watching that TV show. Late at night, sometimes, you get surprised and it makes you jump. That's when I wish Rose was right there, watching with me. I'd wrap my arms around her, make her feel safe. So, maybe I'm not that brave, but I am methodical. Give me a pile of information, and I will turn it to a database that can be sorted 10 different ways. Give me a box of paperwork, I can organize it to a filing system that makes sense to anyone. We deal with the states. When somebody dies and nobody knows what to do with all the stuff that person's accumulated over a lifetime. If there's no brother or daughter to attend to all that stuff, like all us seen. Dealing with other people's cast-off lives, that's my superpower. Maybe that's why I like the TV show so much. I spent much time going through dead people's things. A lot of times, it's solitary work. In the house where they spent their last days, sometimes it can be spooky. Sometimes you see things you wish you could unsee. One time, I saw something that scared me to death. I opened up the drawer. It was wet shut. The wood was swollen with moisture, so I had to struggle to really get it open. And when I finally did, what I saw stopped my heart. Like literally, my heart stopped. When I didn't show up to work the next day, Pauline came looking for me, our office manager. She called the coroner about me and the police about what was in the drawer. I don't know what to do, so I followed her back to the office. I don't know, I like it here. With the ladies, their giggles rose with her pretty lips and pretty hips. I have no reason to go anywhere else. I try to help if I can. Put an idea into Rachel's head, help her make sense of the deceased stamp collection. Sometimes I can't help myself. If they put it back in the wrong place, I'll try to fix it myself. I'm not too good at that. I have to concentrate so hard once in a while. It makes the lights flicker or the radio buzz. Occasionally, something falls. Poltergeist is such a mean word. I'm just clumsy.
This island, there's a force here that I can't explain. I know other people feel it too, and you probably think I'm crazy. But I always knew my house was haunted, Like strange noises in the middle of the night you can't explain. Mysterious lights just showing up in photos. But I figured, if they don't bother me, then I won't bother them. It wasn't until I built the addition onto my house that I started to think that maybe it wasn't the house itself, but rather the land under it that was haunted. I don't even know if haunted is the right word for this. Occupied by energies that have been here a lot longer than you and I. My house sits on the edge of a fairly recent lava flow, within the past few 100 years or so. And yes, I know in human terms that seems like a long time, but in geological terms, that's young. And because I'm on top of this newer flow, my house is about 15 feet above my neighbors, which is nice, because, I've got a bit of a view as I look over their rooftops. If I stand on the edge of my bathtub, I can actually see the ocean out my bathroom window. And when the lava was flowing through Puna, I could see it from my lanai. I know people's homes were getting swallowed up. Entire neighborhoods just engulfed. But in my mind, that was Pele's domain. So if you put a house there, you did so with the knowledge that she could take it away at any time. So I was at peace with the fact that the lava was active in a big way, just a few miles down the road. You know, after a long day at work, I would come home, sit in the dark, beer in my hand, and just watch the red glow. I thought it was magnificent, watching Pele build her island right before my eyes. And then afterwards, I would go and sleep in the addition that I just built. But then something happened that changed my mind. My neighborhood is fairly quiet, but one night, a sound woke me up. And you know, I just laid there at first because it took my eyes a while to adjust. But when they did, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. It had a human shape, like a man, but it was definitely not human. My ceiling is 12 feet tall, and this being, this entity, stood in my room, hunched over, because my ceiling was too low for it to stand upright. Its legs looked like muscular strands of wood and rock, and its feet looked like tree root hooves. Its eyes were glowing red, and it was looking around slowly, like it was confused, like he didn't know where he was. There was nowhere I could hide. All I could do was just stay as still as possible, like a frightened mouse, hoping not to attract attention. This entity, he couldn't see me. Not yet. This might sound weird, but I got the sense that he was from another realm, but somehow here, or half here. And I knew that if I made eye contact with him, he would know I was there. Like it would fully bring him here. I didn't know what else to do, so I shut my eyes. And I kept them closed. Nothing happened. And when I opened them, he was gone. It took me a really long time to tell anyone about that, because I didn't want anyone to think I was crazy. I mean, it's a crazy story, right? When I told my cousin, he said I was lucky to still be here. Lucky that my house was still here. He said I was wrong about the lava flow. That it wasn't Pele. That flow was different. It was an older god. The one who ate forests. He wouldn't say his name, not in my house, and I won't say it out loud either because he's already been here once and I won't do anything to attract him back. You can call me crazy if you want, but living on this island, there are forces you just don't mess with. That's all I'm gonna say.
think she suspects when I jump and sit beside her on the couch. She pats me absent-mindedly. I think her mind wanders to me, as I used to be. I know she saw my journal and my sketches, how ugly the world looked to me then. But that was before I came here. This place, I didn't know it could be like this. People so kind and in all colors. It doesn't matter. Like a rainbow. It is fitting that my last human photo was under a rainbow. It was all I wanted at the time. Peace among all. That sounds like a cliche, but isn't that the ultimate goal? Before I came here, I wished for it all to be over. All of it. The human surge wiped off to the face of the earth. I wish I could come back as a bug or some other simple creature. Without the terrible consciousness and violence of humans. I know it was hard for them. Is hard for them to accept my absence after just a short amount of time. One said it was because I had already accomplished my chromatic goal. I don't know if it wasn't a deliberate thing. It just time, I suppose, for a reset. I did come back as a bug a few times. They are not the simple creatures I thought. And it goes so quickly. So I tried a few other forms. A bright green gecko. I thought they were cute when I was 70 inches tall. Not so much when I was 7 inches. That life was ruthless. I have slowly worked my way up the food chain. So far, every species has been brutal. When her cat was ready to go, I made sure to make my next entrance with fur. Now I am an apex predator with lovely razor claws to catch the things that tormented me not so long ago. A mighty hunter. All 9 pounds of me. I must thank the old cat for making way for my entrance, and the human child for bringing me home. Yes, it is home. They buried the old cat under a tree. I rest there on sunny afternoons, chew on a blade of grass, enjoying her fellowship. The old cat, she is content. Queen of the backyard, keeping an eye on all. She has deputized me to take care of the lady. I bring lizards and frogs every day. I brought a bird once, but she didn't like that. So now I bring smaller creatures, not dead. She chases them around the house, and she is not a skillful huntress. They often escape to the outside again. But I must teach her. But for now, it is enough that I sit beside her and purr to let her know everything will be alright.